So what's up, guys? It's a local trans girl, Sarah here, and I kind of have like a last-minute video I wanted to make because it is about 1 a.m. and I kind of fell down a rabbit hole. The rabbit hole that I fell in is the detransition rabbit hole, one that I've been known to fall down a few times. As someone who's rather insecure in their identity still, I tend to look at things that invalidate me because for whatever reason, I don't know, I just do it. But I was watching some very Christian content and also some stories of people who have detransitioned, and I kind of want to make a video because I feel like there's not a whole lot of information about detransitioning out there, and yeah. So obviously, as a trans girl, I don't really have, like, I have the fear of detransitioning or that being a possibility for me, mostly because of the stigma around it, and let's be real here, if I was that girl, I'd be pretty devastated. And it's not for me. No, I mean, detransition is a very, it's a controversial subject. And the reason why it's controversial is because you have a lot of trans folks on one side who say that detransitioners are usually an example of why we are not valid and why trans people shouldn't medically transition. That there's some kind of like traumatic experience that caused our issues, or that transitioning is not going to fix our issues. And I see where they're coming from. You can look at anything and say that trauma caused something. For every 5 trans people that you find that say that they started having gender dysphoria after a traumatic thing, there's so many that have had perfect lives, no trauma, and they're still trans because they're not related. Thank you. But yeah, and I think we need to like keep it in a conversation because I do think that some people do get confused, and I think certain feelings do sometimes get mixed together. On the other side of detransition, you have the people who don't like hearing about detransition because it puts a bad spotlight on the trans community. And honestly, you don't need to care about the trans community because it's you first. But we do get a lot of flack when people detransition. But it's not the transitioner's fault, it's the fault of the fucking assholes who don't think we exist. Detransitioning is a very valid thing that people go through, and we should be supportive. And one of the biggest common themes that a lot of detransitioners have is that without having gone through their transition and then detransition, they wouldn't be as secure. So even though they might still be cis or something, they're more secure with their identity because they went through that experience of transitioning. There are many reasons why someone would choose to detransition. Some could be medical reasons or safety reasons. They just can't. Some people are trans, but they just don't need to transition. They're comfortable enough. They find a way to deal with their transness in a way that they don't need to transition or want to. There are many people who transition and then they kind of want to go back. And another common theme that I see around detransitioners is that they felt kind of like almost peer pressured. Like it was like a this feeling that if they weren't the model trans person, they weren't really trans. And so they tried so hard to fit this role that they just made themselves unhappy. And I don't think that's right. I think there's a lot of reasons why someone would detransition, and there are many stories on Facebook of people who have detransitioned, and it's worth checking them out. And at the very least, you just learn new stories, and it's great. The biggest no-no, though, that I would say about detransitioning is do not turn people who detransition into your political agenda. This is the biggest thing I see. People taking detransitioners out of context or even in context without their permission to make trans people look bad or to make trans people invalid. Because really, at the end of the day, if you transitioned and you regretted it or you realized it wasn't for you, that's perfectly fine, and you're valid and you're doing no harm to no one, and you are loved and all of that. Because the whole reason why we have this community is to support each other, and I think we should have a place in our community for people who do detransition, because it is an important thing, you know? Like, when I started my transition, detransitioning was a topic that I mostly avoided because I was too afraid. If that makes sense. Like, I was too afraid that, oh, maybe I'll have regrets. Oh, maybe I'll whatever. But as time went on, I've become a lot more secure in my identity, and I'm a bitch that knows what she wants, and I'm a bitch that knows what she wants. So it's like, you can spew whatever bigoted shit you have. It's not gonna affect me, but it's gonna affect other people, and that's fucked up. So, how about you leave these transitioners alone and fuck off and, treat people like humans, because that's what we all want out of this world. I know this video came out of nowhere. I've been absent for some time, and that's because of university. I am so busy. I am currently making a film about a trans girl, and the family that she finds and her friends. And I'm really happy about it. I'm excited. I can't wait to share it with y'all, and I hope you're all doing great. If I have any people who watch this, I hope you know you're loved and you're valid. And as long as you're not a piece of shit, I love you. Keep killing it. I gotta come up with an ending. I still don't know. Also, keep on the lookout for a late. How many months has it been now? Yeah, 5 month. A late 5 month HRT update, because I need to do that shit. I got boobies. I got skin. I got changes that I need to tell you about. So that's what y'all came here about. To dissect me as your trans girl. Like those frogs they dissect in the 4th grade. Or the 7th grade or whatever. And that, but the trans girl. So, if you have an idea for a future video, hit me up. I would love to hear it. Bye!